Hitting 40 can feel like hitting an invisible wall. Your belly fat won't budge, your energy dips, your sleep gets weird, and your clothes stop fitting the way they used to. But there's a simple change that can make a big difference. And it doesn't involve cutting out every food you love or spending hours in the gym. It's intermittent fasting. And for people over 40, it can feel nothing short of amazing. Let's start with one of the biggest frustrations over 40, which is weight gain. Even if you're eating healthy and exercising, you may notice fat showing up around your stomach or hips in a way it didn't before. That's because as we age, our muscle mass naturally starts to drop, and when muscle mass goes down, metabolism slows down too. The body just doesn't burn calories as fast. That's where intermittent fasting helps. In a clinical trial, adults over 40 who practiced intermittent fasting lost more body fat and saw better improvements in their triglyceride levels than those who followed a regular calorie-cutting diet. What's even more interesting is that many people doing intermittent fasting report they find it easier to stick to than traditional diets. When your eating window is smaller, there's less room for snacking or overeating, so you naturally reduce calories without obsessing about portion sizes. Weight is only part of the story, though. Let's talk about blood sugar. After 40, the risk of developing type 2 diabetes climbs. That's because the body starts losing its sensitivity to insulin, the hormone that helps move sugar out of the blood and into your cells. When that sensitivity drops, sugar hangs around in the blood for longer, leading to higher blood sugar and eventually diabetes. Time-restricted eating, which is one of the most common types of intermittent fasting, has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and lower fasting blood sugar in middle-aged adults. That means your body is handling carbs better, energy levels are steadier, and you don't get those wild swings between being wired and then crashing hard after meals. Now let's get into something a little less visible but just as important: inflammation. As we age, many of us develop something called chronic low-grade inflammation. You don't see it, you don't feel it directly, but it quietly raises the risk for heart disease, arthritis, and even memory problems. Intermittent fasting helps reduce this type of inflammation. Some studies have found that fasting lowered markers of inflammation and improved cardiovascular risk factors in people with metabolic issues. It's like turning down the volume on the background noise your body is dealing with every day. Less inflammation means healthier joints, better heart health, and a sharper brain. But fasting does more than reduce risks. It also helps with repair. When you give your body a break from food, it shifts into what scientists call autophagy. That's just a fancy word for cleaning up damaged cells and recycling them. Think of it as a built-in repair system that works best when you're not constantly eating. Research shows intermittent fasting supports this process and can even slow some of the cellular changes linked with aging. So while you may be adding years to your age, your cells are acting younger. Something else that's a huge concern after 40 is muscle loss. It's called sarcopenia, and it can creep up quietly. You might notice you're not as strong carrying groceries, or that exercise feels harder than it used to. If fasting is done wrong, it could make this worse, but if it's done right, it can actually help. A study on postmenopausal women found that when intermittent fasting was combined with high-intensity workouts, it improved muscle performance and body composition. That means less fat, more strength, and a body that stays capable as you age. The key is pairing fasting with enough protein and some form of strength training. Without those, fasting could lean too far into calorie cutting and cost you muscle. Your heart also stands to gain from fasting. Studies show that intermittent fasting can lower blood pressure, reduce LDL cholesterol, and improve overall cardiovascular health. These aren't minor wins. They're the kind that keep you out of the cardiologist's office and able to enjoy life without worrying about every little chest twinge. Now here's a benefit most people don't think about: your internal clock, also known as your circadian rhythm. This rhythm controls sleep, hormones, and energy throughout the day. When you eat late at night, you throw it off. Fasting, especially when your eating hours are aligned with daylight, helps reset that rhythm. Research shows this type of eating pattern can improve glucose balance and lipid health by syncing with your natural clock. That means better sleep, steadier energy, and a body that feels more in tune with itself. We also can't ignore hormones. After 40, hormone levels shift in ways that can be uncomfortable. For women, estrogen and progesterone drop, leading to menopause symptoms. For men, testosterone declines, affecting energy, mood, and muscle mass. Some worry fasting could make this worse, but studies show it's not the case. An 8-week study found that time-restricted eating didn't push estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone out of normal ranges, although it did lower DHEA slightly, but still within healthy limits. For some women, especially those with higher androgen levels, fasting can even help by lowering testosterone and increasing SHBG, a protein that regulates hormones. So rather than throwing hormones into chaos, fasting may actually smooth some imbalances. Of course, fasting isn't risk-free, and this is where being over 40 means you need to be a little more careful. Sleep can be fragile at this age, and if your eating window is too short or calories too low, it could make sleep worse. Stress levels are often higher in midlife too, and fasting itself is a mild stressor, so stacking them can backfire. Cleveland Clinic notes that women especially should be mindful of changes in their menstrual cycles or menopausal symptoms while fasting. Another risk is losing too much muscle if you don't combine fasting with proper nutrition. Without enough protein and resistance exercise, the body could break down lean tissue. That's why fasting alone isn't the full solution. Pairing it with strength training is what makes the magic happen. For people with diabetes or those on medication, fasting could also cause blood sugar to drop too low, which is dangerous. That's why medical supervision is recommended in these cases. So how do you actually start fasting if you're over 40? The best way is gently. You don't need to jump straight into extreme schedules. Begin with a simple 12-hour overnight fast, which is as easy as finishing dinner at 7 p.m. and eating breakfast at 7 a.m. Once that feels normal, you can extend to 14 or 16 hours. Many people find eating from around 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. works well since it lines up with natural daylight and social life. Hydration is important too. Stick to water, black coffee, or herbal tea during fasting hours since anything else can break the fast. I'm not saying that fasting will make you immortal, but it's one of the simplest tools we have for aging in a healthier way. So if you're over 40 and feeling like your body is slowing down, intermittent fasting is a tool worth trying. It doesn't require complicated rules, just a shift in timing. And once you start giving your body those breaks, you might be surprised at just how much better you feel. Will you give intermittent fasting a try? Let me know in the comments below. While you're there, click the link in the description to check out my go-to website for getting all my tested health and fitness products. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.